Hello, it's me Lasse and this is my channel F1 follower. So this is a quite late review of the Australian Grand Prix and also talk a bit about qualifying because I couldn't manage to do a video on Saturday at about the qualifying at all. So first things first, the results after the race were Leclerc win again, the second time this season. Perez was second and Russell got third, his first podium on an actual race. He technically get the podium last year's Belgian Grand Prix, which was not actually taking place, but his first proper podium. So how did we get here? Well, Leclerc was on the pole after the qualifying, and Verstappen and Perez were right behind him, and Leclerc's teammate Carlos Sainz, with 3 question marks for this weekend, he was only 9th. But we have to remember that he got very unlucky with the red flag. He would have been up there in top 5 at least, but his fast lap got cancelled like 10 or 20 meters before the finish line when the Alpine of Fernando Alonso hit the side wall and bring out the red flag on the qualifying. But on the actual race, Perez had to start from the ninth place because he failed his second lap on the third qualifying part, and he didn't manage to drive very long. In a turn 9 and turn 10, he spun and beat his car, and his race was over there. And we can almost say that his championship run for the World Championship is over also, because his teammate Leclerc is dominating at the moment. On the actual race, Leclerc lead all the way. Technically not all the laps, because he did pit before some other drivers behind him, but he was in effective lead all the way through and won over 20 seconds difference to Perez and got the fastest lap once again. This is his third of the season from 3 races, so perfect there. So the point situation at this moment is 71 for Leclerc. Then actually Russell is second with 37 points, and I think this shows that consistency is the key. His places have been like 4th, 5th and 3rd, but he finishes every race in decent place. And then there's Sainz with 33 points and Perez with 30 points and Hamilton with 28 and Verstappen 25 points. He's the last of the leading cars. And actually, as we can see here, Russell is in front of Perez and Hamilton is in front of Verstappen, even though the Mercedes is much slower car than the Red Bull. But you have to finish the race to get the points. So that's the problem with Red Bull, and that is the question mark behind Red Bull, that what are they doing. But this is not a new thing. Adrian Newey designed cars has been quite brittle sometimes. For example, in the early 2000s he made quite radical cars and they were mostly fast, but they didn't manage to finish the race often enough to them to be the championship cars like 2003, 2005. Räikkönen lost some potential championships because of the mechanical issues, while the competitors cars, the Ferraris and the Renaults, were much more reliable. And then there's also one more question mark, 2 question marks for Lance Stroll. First on the qualifying, he managed to collide with Latifi when they both were on the slow lap. So I don't know what happened there actually. I saw it, but I don't understand what happened there. And then on the race he got 5-second penalty for weaving on the straights. And I think part of that were that he also kind of pushed Bottas out of the road when he tried to overtake. So not a great weekend, but he actually managed to bring the car home at 12th place, which was better than Vettel, who crashed. And it was completely disastrous weekend for Vettel on all levels. He missed most of the practices and almost missed the whole qualifying. I think he got 1 lap in. He was last, of course, because he didn't drive. And then on the race he spun out and hit the wall in the quite early parts of the race, like around the pit stop period, I think, like on 20 laps in of 60 lap race, around 60 lap. This seems like Leclerc and Ferrari are gone and nobody can challenge them, but I think that is a false assumption at this point. There's still 20 races to go. Ferrari will be very good at the next round in Imola. It's very similar track to Melbourne, and probably at the Miami too after that. But then there should be, traditionally there is huge upgrade packages for the Spain, which is the 6th race of the season this year after Miami. And then we will see some potential changes. But if Ferrari is still being top team, or if they cannot win, they will be second or third, then it's almost game over. Only saving grace for the other teams might be that there will be reliability problems at the end of the season for Ferrari, and that is not unheard of. Around 5 years ago, Vettel challenged Hamilton on Ferrari, but on both years at the end of the season, at the end of the season, the end part of the season, last third, Hamilton was dominant on both years, 2017 and 2018, even though at the midpoint Ferrari was ahead. But there's a risk that Ferrari will just run away, and 10 races in they are so far ahead that they can just drive like Braun GP did in 2009, that they don't take risks and just finish 5th, 6th, 7th and manage to take the championship. And Aston Martin has been very sad and continued to be sad. Absolutely very sad. As I told, Vettel crashed, Stroll crashed and got penalties. Also Tsunoda has been quite sad on the early part of the season. He managed to 8th place on the first race because of the retirements of another cars in front of him, but This time he was nowhere once again. But positives, well, Leclerc, he's driven almost perfectly. The Verstappen's Red Bull was faster on the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, but this time there was nobody near of him. Even Verstappen was very far away, and then Verstappen retired due to mechanical problem. McLaren, they're on the upswing, and this should continue at least for the next race, but let's see what happens after that. It might be that McLaren is the car is quite picky about what kind of racetrack they like. So in Bahrain they absolutely sucked, but the fact might be that McLaren is just too harsh for the tires if the track surface is harsh. But in Saudi Arabia and also now in Melbourne, the track surface was very smooth, completely new, and the pace was really good. Actually, I would say they were even a bit closer to Mercedes in front than they were Alpine behind them. Oh, and then there's Alex Albon. Nothing special on the qualifying. Actually, his car broke down on qualifying, but he managed to drive a 57 lap stint on the hard tires, and on the last lap he fulfilled the tire rule and changed softs on, and he managed to score 1 point, just in front of Guan Yu Zhou on Alfa Romeo. It was like Albon was like half a second in front of Zhou when he exited the pits. But of course, even if Zhou was in front, Albon could have easily overtook him because he had massive tire difference at that point. Brand new softs versus very old, 40 laps old hards. So it wasn't very close, but it was quite close finish. And as I already said, there's a long season ahead, so the balance of power of the cars and the teams and the drivers, it's not written in stone yet, but it looks really promising for Ferrari and Leclerc. And on the midfield there has been decent shifts. McLaren was very slow on the first race. Let's see what happens with them, because they were the fastest of the midfield, or second fastest, depends, do you wanna count the Mercedes on the midfield right now. Alpine has been quite steady. Alfa Romeo was actually quite good, but Bottas missed the Q3 and then got a bit of stuck on the race, but he managed to get 8th, so he could have challenged 7th place with better starting position, maybe even the McLaren's, but I don't think that would have really been realistic. But let's hope that many teams will be good on the midfield. Aston Martin is now the only team without points, and I don't see them getting points for a while. But Stroll wasn't too far away now, so a bit of a luck they could score some points. Williams needed luck, but also great situational awareness and bold strategy moves to get the 1 point on Australia. I think that is all right now, and we see you next time when we see.